You begin by noticing that every search assumes absence. Something is missing, something must be reached, something must be entered. But before accepting this structure, you pause and ask what is doing the seeking. Ibn Arabi enters this inquiry immediately, not as an instructor pointing outward, but as a guide redirecting attention inward. He asks whether the sense of individuality that seeks is itself examined. The Quran gives a precise starting point. I breathed into him of my spirit, 1529. If what animates awareness is breathed rather than produced, then individuality is not the origin of consciousness. You do not generate awareness. You find yourself already within it. The question becomes unavoidable. If what you seek is already present as the ground of your awareness, what does the word I actually name? Ibn Arabi lived in Andalusia among scholars who debated theology, philosophy, and law with intensity. Knowledge expanded rapidly, yet resolution remained elusive. Ibn Arabi observed that inquiry often multiplied answers without addressing the deeper issue of orientation. He did not deny learning, he questioned its direction. The Quran articulates the structure he recognized. Above every possessor of knowledge is one more knowing, 1276. Knowledge, by its nature, does not conclude. It points beyond itself. Ibn Arabi understood that if knowing continues endlessly, the problem may not be ignorance but misdirection. Inquiry must eventually turn back toward the one who knows rather than what is known. You habitually speak in terms of possession, my thought, my intention, my life. These phrases appear natural, yet none of what they reference remains stable. Thoughts arise and dissolve. Intentions shift. Life changes without consent. Ibn Arabi identifies ownership as a conceptual strategy that stabilizes identity temporarily. The Quran states the principle without ambiguity. Everything is perishing except his face, 2888. If everything that appears is in a state of passing, then ownership becomes logically inconsistent. You cannot possess what does not endure. When this is clearly seen, nothing essential is taken away. Experience continues. Awareness remains. What dissolves is the claim that there was ever a permanent owner behind experience. Seeking often implies distance. You imagine yourself here and reality elsewhere, requiring effort or progress. Ibn Arabi challenges this assumption by questioning distance itself. The Quran states, "We are nearer to him than his jugular vein," 50:16. Nearness here is not spatial, it is structural. If nearness is already absolute, then movement toward the real is unnecessary. The sense of distance survives only as an idea sustained by identity. When the assumption of separation is examined, nearness is no longer achieved. It is recognized. Awareness does not approach truth. Truth is the condition in which awareness already functions. The effort to arrive dissolves when the premise of distance collapses. Ibn Arabi explains that consciousness is not a container holding experiences. It is the condition under which experience appears. Knowing is not owned by a knower. It is reality recognizing itself. The Quran frames this as recognition rather than discovery. We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. 41:53. Signs do not add information. They remove misattribution. Inner and outer recognition arise within the same awareness. As this becomes clear, the idea of a separate observer weakens. Knowing continues, but without reference to a personal center. Awareness reflects without claiming authorship of what appears. Seeking presumes two things: that the self is separate and that the goal is distant. Ibn Arabi questions both assumptions. He reframes return not as achievement but as inevitability. The Quran states this plainly. Indeed, we belong to God, and to Him we return. 2:156. Belonging precedes return. There was never a moment of true separation. Seeking functions as a temporary structure that sustains identity. When return is seen as certain rather than earned, seeking loses its authority. What dissolves is not effort, but the belief that effort was required. Awareness remains, but without the narrative of distance that once justified the search. As inquiry deepens, knowledge no longer expands outward. It turns back upon itself. Ibn Arabi describes this reversal as the point where knowledge ceases to confirm identity. The Quran repeats the structure. Above every possessor of knowledge is one more knowing. 1276. Each level of understanding destabilizes the previous one. Ownership dissolves. Certainty weakens. Knowledge reveals its own limits. When knowing no longer reinforces the knower, the authority of the self fades. What remains is understanding without a claimant. Knowledge continues, but no one stands behind it to possess or defend it. You may still imagine a door to be crossed, a threshold to be entered. Ibn Arabi removes this structure entirely. Experiences change, states shift, insights arise and pass. But awareness does not alter. The Quran restates the principle. Everything is perishing except his face. 2888. What perishes includes experiences and interpretations. Awareness remains. The door you sought was never an object or event. It is the constant presence in which all events appear. If awareness does not change, then nothing truly opens. What ends is the belief that something needed to be entered at all. Seeking ends not in attainment, but in irrelevance. Ibn Arabi's inward orientation dissolves effort by dissolving distance. The Quran states again, we are nearer to him than his jugular vein. 50:16. When nearness is recognized as constant, seeking collapses naturally. There is no arrival to claim because there was no departure. Awareness remains as it always was. What changes is not presence but interpretation. The seeker dissolves, not into silence but into clarity. There is no one left to declare arrival. Recognition stands without commentary. Direction depends on separation. Inside and outside only function where boundaries are assumed. Ibn Arabi dissolves these orientations entirely. The Quran states the unity without sequence. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden. 57:3. If unity allows no outside, then inward and outward lose meaning. The language of approach becomes unnecessary. There is no direction for awareness to take because nothing stands apart from it. What remains is not confusion, but simplicity. Orientation dissolves when separation is no longer assumed. Here, inquiry settles without conclusion. There is no claim, no denial, no assertion to maintain. Ibn Arabi's unity does not merge things. It removes false divisions. The Quran seals this understanding. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden. 57:3. Awareness remains without movement, without entry, without a threshold to cross. Nothing opens because nothing was closed. Stillness is not produced. It is recognized as what remains when identification ends. There is no door, no seeker, no arrival, only presence, complete and sufficient, without need of explanation.